Hello guys. So now we shall be discussing regarding the topic of sciatic foramina. Okay. So where are these sciatic foramina present? There are these sciatic foramina present within your pelvic bone, right? So a topic of discussion would be regarding the sciatic foramina. Now when it comes to sciatic foramina, all of you know that we have got two different types of sciatic foramina. One is called as the greater sciatic foramina, another one is called as a lesser sciatic foramina. So we have got two important types. One is called as the greater and the other one is called as the lesser. So greater sciatic foramen as well as the lesser sciatic foramen. Now you can see that this is your pelvic bone. Now into this pelvic bone, here you can see a small projection over here, right? So this spine like projection which you can see over here is called as ischial spine. What is this? This is called as ischial spine. Okay, this particular spine like projection is called as ischial spine. Now attached from the ischial spine, right, to the sacrum bone here, you have got a ligament like this. Okay, so this particular ligament is called as sacrospinous ligament. What is the name of this ligament? So the name of this particular ligament is called as sacrospinous ligament. Sacrospinous ligament. So this sacrospinous ligament, not only sacrospinous ligament, we even have got one more other ligament, right? So let me draw this particular ligament over here. Now another ligament, if you see, where is this ligament present? This ligament is present all the way here, you see, right? So from here this ligament is coming down like this, and this ligament is attached here in this way, right? So one is called as the sacrospinous ligament, and behind the sacrospinous ligament we have got another ligament called as, this is called as sacrotuberous ligament. Okay, so what are the two ligaments? One is called sacrospinous, another one is sacrotuberous. I am rubbing this ischial spine over here, right? So let me attach this structure to the ischial spine. So there are two important ligaments. One is called as the sacrospinous ligament, and this particular ligament is called as a sacrotuberous ligament. Sacrotuberous ligament. Now with the help of this sacrospinous ligament and sacrotuberous ligament, you see two important notches there, right? So this particular notch which you can see, you see this particular notch which you can see, which I am shading with the yellow color, right? So okay, let me change the color over here. So this particular notch which you can see over here, right? So this particular notch is called as a greater sciatic notch, and below that you see another notch over here. This is called as a lesser sciatic notch. So what are the two different notches we have got? We have got the greater sciatic notch, another one is called as a lesser sciatic notch. So this one over here is called as your greater sciatic notch, greater sciatic notch, and this particular notch over here is called as your lesser sciatic notch. So greater as well as the lesser sciatic notch. Now just look at this particular picture over here, you will completely understand whatever I am talking about. So you can see this greater sciatic foramen over here, and down here you can see the lesser sciatic foramen, right? So the greater sciatic foramen is completely yellow there, and less yellow in color is the lesser sciatic foramen. Now both of them are covered by two important ligaments. So one ligament is called as your sacrospinous ligament, and behind the sacrospinous ligament you have got is a sacrotuberous ligament, right? So now what we will discuss is that we shall discuss first regarding the greater sciatic foramen. Now when we take greater sciatic foramen, what are the borders of greater sciatic foramen, and later on we will discuss what are the contents of that. Okay, so first we shall discuss about the greater sciatic foramen. Now coming to this greater sciatic foramen, what are the different borders? See, first of all, greater sciatic foramen is having a superior border, Tell me, what is the superior border having? See, just above that. So this is a greater sciatic foramen, superior border in the sense the border that is above, right? So above, what do you have? You have got a ligament called as anterior sacroiliac ligament, right? So what is this ligament over here? This is anterior sacroiliac ligament. Let me enlarge it. Now it will be easy for you. So if this particular thing is your greater sciatic foramen, right? If that is your greater sciatic foramen, now when I'm asking about the superior border, which means this one, right? This the thing that is shaded in red, that is your superior border. So that is your anterior sacroiliac ligament. So it means here you have got anterior sacroiliac ligament. Exactly here you have got anterior sacroiliac ligament. Okay, so the superior border is formed by anterior sacroiliac ligament. After that, what is the next border? What is the next border here? The next border is the posteromedial border. Posteromedial border in the sense, so if this is superior, if that is superior, posteromedial, medially in the sense towards the midline, right? So posteromedially you have got this particular ligament called as sacrotuberous ligament. So posteromedially, what do you have? Sacrotuberous ligament. Next, tell anterolaterally, what do you have? Anterolaterally, I have got this notch. This is anterolaterally. Okay, so towards this arrow is indicating medially, and this particular arrow indicates lateral border. So anterolaterally, what do I have? I have got this particular notch called as greater sciatic notch. And beneath that, what do the notch I have got here? This notch is called as lesser sciatic notch. So anterolaterally, what do I have? Anterolaterally, I have got greater sciatic notch. Next, after anterolaterally, inferiorly, what do I have? Inferiorly in the sense down. Down, what do I have? I have got ischial spine, and attached to the ischial spine, what is the ligament I have got? Sacrospinous ligament. Okay, so these are the two important things that I have got over here. Okay, so this is all about your sciatic foramen. So let me draw these things first, and then let me explain it to you. For example, this was your foramen like this, right? This is your sciatic foramen. And next important thing, okay, let me put this things little bit down. Now second important thing, what is there here? Second important thing you have got is you have got a spine over here. So this particular spine which you are concentrating on, right, this particular spine which you are seeing here is called as your ischial spine. Okay, so this particular spine is called as your ischial spine. Above the ischial spine, there is what? Greater sciatic notch. Where is this greater sciatic notch? See, this one is your greater sciatic notch, and this one is called as your lesser sciatic notch. Okay, attached from the spine, you have got a ligament. Attached from the spine, you have got a ligament that is going all the way down here, right? So this particular ligament which you can see is called as sacrospinous ligament because it is attached to the spine, right? So sacrospinous ligament. Now behind this sacrospinous ligament, you have got another ligament I told you. So this is the particular ligament which is located behind your sacrospinous ligament like this. You see this? This particular ligament which you can see over here, this particular ligament which you can see over here is called as sacrotuberous ligament. So one is sacrospinous ligament, another one is sacrotuberous ligament, right? So let me write it down over here. So this is sacrospinous, this is sacrotuberous ligament, right? And next, now here you see two important notches. What are those two important notches? See, this particular notch over here is called as your greater sciatic notch. This one, this is called as your greater sciatic notch. This is called as your lesser sciatic. This is called as your greater sciatic foramen, and this is called as your lesser sciatic foramen. Now, when it comes to the notches, this notch is called as a greater sciatic notch, and this particular notch is called as a lesser sciatic notch. Okay, this is called as your lesser sciatic notch. Now, in this the borders, as we already discussed, we discussed few important borders, right? One border we discussed was the superior border, right? So another border we discussed was the inferior border. So superiorly, what do we have? We have got a ligament over here. So this thing also I have already talked. So superiorly, we have got a ligament like this. So this ligament that is located superiorly over here, what is the name of this particular ligament? This is called as anterior sacroiliac ligament. Anterior sacroiliac ligament. Anterior sacroiliac ligament. So first of all, let us name out what is the superior, what is the inferior border and all. See, on the top, whatever you can see over here, right? So this becomes your superior border. Okay. Next, down, whatever you can see here, this becomes the inferior border. So this inferior border, this is called as your inferior border. So superiorly, what do you have? You have got anterior, what is this? Anterior sacroiliac ligament. Inferiorly, what do you have? You have got two important things. See, one is this particular ligament and the other one is this pink color, one is this particular pink color ligament, whatever I have drawn, and next is your ischial spine. So these two things are the things which are located inferior. Next, posteromedial, anterolateral. Posteromedial in the sense this one. This is posteromedial, this is anterolaterally. So posteromedially, what do you have? You have got sacrotuberous ligament, right? Now next, anterolaterally, what do you have? You have got this pink line that is called as greater sciatic notch. So let us write down these things over here. So superior, inferior, and after that superiorly. After superiorly, we will write down about the posterior medial border. After that, we will write about the antero lateral border, and next we will write down about the inferior border. So posteromedially, what do you have? Posteromedially, we have got the sacrotuberous ligament. Sacrotuberous ligament. Now anterolaterally, what do you have? Anterolaterally, you have got the greater sciatic notch. Greater sciatic notch. Inferiorly, what do you have? Inferiorly, you have got the sacrospinous ligament. Okay, sacrospinous ligament and ischial spine. Sacrospinous ligament as well as your ischial spine. So this is located inferiorly. So these are the structures which you can see over here, right? Now, after discussing this, the next important thing we shall discuss right now over here is what are the structures that are passing. What are the structures that are passing? So how do we discuss what are the structures that are passing are? The first important thing you need to know is that first of all, this greater sciatic foramen, whatever you can see, right? This greater sciatic foramen is divided into two parts. What do I mean is, for example, if you look at this particular skeleton over here, right? So this particular notch which you can see over here, right? So this particular notch, see this particular notch which you can see over here is your greater sciatic notch, and this one over here is your lesser sciatic notch. Now this particular greater sciatic notch is divided into other two important structures. For example, here let us say you have got a muscle. Okay, see this muscle is dividing this greater sciatic notch into two compartments. So what are these two compartments? One compartment is above. See, this is one compartment which is on the top. Okay, this is one compartment which is on the top, and here we have got one more compartment which is on the bottom. So the compartment which is on the top is called as suprapiriform area. Why? Because this line, whatever that is separating the greater sciatic foramen into the upper compartment and the lower compartment is called as piriformis muscle. Right. So this particular muscle which you can see over here is called as your piriformis muscle. So this one is called as piriformis. Okay, I will write it much more detailedly later on. So this piriformis muscle is dividing the greater sciatic foramen into two more foramens. Above this piriformis muscle you call it as a suprapiriform foramen. Below the piriformis muscle you call it as a infrapiriform foramen. Okay, so this is the same thing on an other picture. So this entire notch which you can see, or entire foramen which you can see, is called as a greater sciatic foramen. So within the center of the greater sciatic foramen you see a muscle P. This is called as piriformis. So this muscle is called as piriformis muscle. Piriformis muscle is dividing the foramen into suprapiriform foramen and infrapiriform foramen. Now we will see what are the structures that are coming out of suprapiriform foramen. Later we will see what are the structures that are coming out from the infrapiriform foramen. So the first important thing is that suprapiriform foramen, from the suprapiriform foramen, what are the structures that are coming? The first important structure which you would see over here is superior gluteal artery and vein. Superior gluteal artery as well as vein, these are the two structures that are coming out of the suprapiriform foramen. Next important thing is that superior gluteal nerve also. Superior gluteal nerve is also coming out of your suprapiriform foramen. Okay. Now after that, the next important thing is infrapiriform foramen. Now what are the structures that are coming out of the infrapiriform foramen? The first important thing you need to see over here is that, for example, the first important structure, that is your sciatic nerve. I hope all of you know what is sciatic nerve. So sciatic nerve is coming out of your infrapiriform foramen. After that, the second important thing is pudendal nerve. Pudendal nerve is also coming out of your infrapiriform foramen. Third important thing is inferior gluteal artery as well as vein. Inferior gluteal artery and vein. These are the structures that are coming out from the infrapiriform foramen. And fourth important thing you need to know is inferior gluteal nerve. Inferior gluteal nerve. Fifth important thing is posterior femoral cutaneous nerve. Posterior femoral cutaneous nerve. And sixth and seventh, one is the nerve to a muscle called obturatus internus, and second is a nerve to quadratus femoris. Not quadriceps femoris, it is quadratus femoris, which is a single muscle. Okay. So nerve to obturator internus. Next is nerve to quadratus femoris. Nerve to quadratus femoris. So this is the next important thing that you see over here. Okay. So these are the important things, infrapiriform foramen. So these are the things which you would appreciate over here. So sciatic nerve, pudendal nerve, inferior gluteal artery. This is gluteal artery and vein, inferior gluteal nerve, posterior cutaneous, femoral cutaneous nerve, nerve to obturatus internus as well as the quadratus femoris. So these are the structures which you would see. Now let us discuss about the lesser sciatic foramen. Now when it comes to the lesser sciatic foramen, we will see what are the borders of this lesser sciatic foramen. Okay. Coming to the lesser sciatic foramen, first of all let us see what are the borders of this lesser sciatic foramen. So before we look at the borders of this lesser sciatic foramen, what we will do is that we shall just draw this lesser sciatic foramen so that it would be easy for us. So what are the things over here? See this. Here you have got your ischial spine, right? So this particular thing over here is your ischial spine. This is your ischial spine. Now the first important ligament over here, is this particular one. So can you guess the name of the ligament? This is called as your sacrotuberous ligament, which we discussed already, right? So this is your sacrotuberous ligament. Okay, so this particular ligament over here is your sacrotuberous ligament. Now above this sacrotuberous ligament, you have got another ligament I told you, that is called as sacrospinous ligament, right? So this particular ligament which I am drawing right now is your sacrospinous ligament. So this one, which is occupying the space in front of the spine, is your sacrospinous ligament. So this is called as your sacrospinous ligament. So one is called as your sacrotuberous. So this one over here is called as your sacrotuberous ligament, and this one over here is called as your sacrospinous ligament. Okay, sacrotuberous ligament as well as your sacrospinous ligament. So these are the two important ligaments. Now out of this, the first important thing we shall be discussing right now is this particular part. This is your lesser sciatic foramen. Now what are the structures that are located within this lesser sciatic foramen? Now first, superiorly, this is the superior part. So superiorly, what are the things you have got? Superiorly, I have got the ischial spine, right? Not only ischial spine, I even attached to this ischial spine there is a ligament that is called as sacrospinous ligament, right? So this one is your sacrospinous, right? This one is your sacrospinous ligament. So sacrospinous ligament as well as this particular thing called as ischial spine. Ischial spine, these are the two important things that are located superiorly. Next, after the superior border is done, we will look at the anterior border. Anteriorly, in the sense, this is anterior border. This is this with black one, whatever I have drawn is your anterior border. Anteriorly, what do you have got? Anteriorly, one you have got is your ischial spine, and after that, this particular border, this border is called as lesser sciatic notch. Okay, whereas this border which I am highlighting with the blue is called as the greater sciatic notch, and round which I have highlighted with the velvet is called as the lesser sciatic notch. Okay, next, back side, posteriorly, what do you have? Backside in the sense posteriorly. Posteriorly, what do I have? This green color ligament called as sacrotuberous ligament. I hope you can understand. So there are three important borders. What are those three important borders? One is the superior, another one is the anterior, another one is your posterior. Superior, anterior as well as your posterior. Superiorly, what do you have? Superiorly, you have got your sacrospinous ligament and ischial spine. Anteriorly, what do you have? Anteriorly, you have got ischial spine. Anteriorly, you have got ischial spine. You have got lesser sciatic notch. Lesser sciatic notch. And posteriorly, what do you have? You have got sacrotuberous ligament. Posteriorly, you have got sacrotuberous ligament. So these are the things. Now let us see what are the contents within this lesser sciatic foramen. Now coming to the contents of this lesser sciatic foramen, what are the different contents you would see over here? The first important content is internal pudendal artery and vein. Internal pudendal artery and vein. Okay. Second important thing is your pudendal nerve. Pudendal nerve. Third important thing is your obturator internus tendon. Obturator internus tendon. obturator internus tendon. And fourth important thing is your nerve to obturator internus. Nerve to obturator internus. Nerve to your obturator internus. So these are the four important things which you would see. What are these four important things? One is called as your internal pudendal artery and vein. Next is called as pudendal nerve. Third is called as obturator internus tendon. And the fourth one is called as nerve to obturator internus. So these are the four important structures which you would see over here, right? So this is all you need to know regarding the greater as well as the lesser sciatic foramen and its contents, guys. So thank you so much for watching my video. Goodbye.